Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and as we go into 2025 and we get these weirdos that have been in power out, the biggest, I think this guy calls it, calls it not the elephant in the room, but the whale or the blue whale in the room. This is gonna, and I'm gonna tie this into crypto, but I want you to watch this.
From our mutual friend Frank Justra, where you say Frank is exactly correct, where Frank says Musk will fail to persuade Congress to give up its power of the purse, but Congress will enact Trump's tax cuts. The net result will be a growing U.S. budget deficit, which at 6.4% of GDP in 2024 is already very, very high.
The only problem with Frank's comment is that he didn't mention the growth in the off-balance sheet debt. In other words, Frank seriously understated the problem. The accretion of on-balance sheet liabilities is $2.5 trillion a year. The accretion of off-balance sheet liabilities is also $2.5 trillion a year. I was going to say the elephant in the room. That's wrong. The blue whale in the room.
The blue whale in the room
is the off-balance sheet liabilities, which are 3 times the size of the official sector government debt. Now, we could be honest and default, but it's unlikely that we'll do that, isn't it?
I would think highly unlikely. What do you think?
I think it's completely unlikely. I mean, yes, we will default around the edges. Social Security was supposed to be an insurance scheme, a government-funded insurance scheme. It is going to become an overt transfer scheme. They are, as I suggest, for people like me and Frank and you, going to remove the cap on our contributions. And then they're going to means test it. So they will increase our contribution while eliminating our receipt. That takes care of the insurance part. They will do this because they have no second choice and because it's very popular politics. But it won't matter.
There's one thing these people aren't thinking about. Here's another clip you need to watch to just drive this home.
The question is, at what point do voters decide that they would like the government to default? Because there is a $31.5 trillion gem lying there for the voters to pick up. That's about $250,000 per household in America. Just lying there for them, like a freebie, if they simply say, let's default. And, you know, we saw that in Greece during the sovereign crisis in Europe in, 2010, 2011, where at that time, so Greece defaulted on its debts, and it crushed the economy, partly because Greece was in that twilight where the government was just functional enough to stop growth. And during that period, what's interesting is that Greece had been handing out a smaller amount as a percent of its economy in debt service to foreigners than the US does all the time. In other words, Greece did not default because it had to. It defaulted because it was tempting. A political entrepreneur saw an opportunity, and he got up and talked about, the greedy Germans, and enough Greek people liked that narrative, and they eyed all of that sweet default cash because it's very attractive to default, particularly if the U.S. Who's going to make you pay? If the U.S. wakes up one morning and defaults on all its bonds to China, you in what army, pal? That I think is kind of an interesting question. I think that we're going to get there a lot earlier than people imagine because the conversation is focused on, can America pay its debts? That's not the question. The question is, do American voters want to pay that debt? Do American if you break down the debt by the source, right, a certain amount of it was the war in Afghanistan, a certain amount of it was...
Okay, you've heard enough of that. The point is my question is simple. Van Eck just claimed that a U.S. strategic Bitcoin reserve could slash national debt by 35% by 2049. What if this is what it was created for? I've made no secret of all of my questions around Bitcoin, that it's never made any sense. It's never made any sense that they keep trying to prop this thing up with, now they're wanting to do a strategic reserve, but they always ignore the obvious things like the 4 Satoshi video. They obviously ignore all of Bitcoin's deficiencies, and everybody keeps ignoring all those things and just keeps saying, oh, this is the one, this is the king, and driving the price up. You have to wonder if it was created by governments in order to solve the debt problem, but not just Bitcoin. What I would say, especially if somebody in the Trump administration was listening to me, well, if that's kind of the idea, to create this reserve and then it becomes a staple across the US and other countries, why would you not do it with all the large cap crypto, the ones that are here to stay, the ones with real utility especially, and put them all, make a strategic reserve out of all of them? Why would you not do that? Because then you're multiplying your chances of solving the debt problem, if that's the concept here. It won't surprise me a bit if you don't see XRP. We've already seen XRP become a treasury reserve of a company. Well, it stands to reason, why would you not do the same thing country by country, company by company? Sounds like a pretty cool idea. All right. There's a lot of commentary going on about the market pullback we've been through, and you need to listen to this stuff.
2025 and beyond. But should anyone be worrying about the sudden weakness that we've seen in the last few trading days?
No, it's great to be on. I think the weakness we've seen over the last few days is a healthy pullback. If you look at the crypto market, big picture, it's run up substantially since the election. We saw a lot of leverage build up in the system, and this is a natural washing out of leverage. There's been about $2 billion of forced liquidations over the last 2 days. This has happened in crypto since its very earliest period. We need to reset the leverage levels, and then we'll build from there. But the long-term drivers are still intact. We're still in a strong bull market. I think Kathy is right about where this is going. We feel exactly the same at Bitwise.
I mean, you are someone who has seen some highs and lows. You understand the volatility in the asset class, Matt. But I'm interested in who is coming to your asset management company. Oh, we've got some exciting music playing on set. They're that thrilled to hear about what you think in terms of institutional money coming now Bitwise's way. Is it still a flood of retail and high net worth individuals? What are you seeing in terms of changes?
Yeah, it's really been both so far this year, but I'm aligned with Kathy in thinking that the institutions have now started moving in size. When you saw the 15 straight days of inflows into the Bitcoin ETFs post-election, I believe that was institutional capital. At Bitwise, every year we survey professional investors and ask them what's keeping them out of the market. And for 6 straight years, they said a lack of regulatory clarity. Well, that regulatory clarity is coming, and that's opened the floodgates to institutions. And I would just say, I think most people underestimate the size of this. BlackRock just came out and said most people should have 1 to 2% allocation to Bitcoin. There's $100 trillion of institutional assets out there. 2% is a lot of investment that still has to happen. We're going to start seeing that really come in 2025.
Okay. Then Linda P. Jones put out a good tweet. Today's crypto, Bitcoin, XRP volatility is playing out the way I mentioned may happen with MicroStrategy to my VIP group in December 2025. What did I just say? December 15th. Just want to point out some things. I'm seeing that this is from December 15th. We're at the 23rd. Just want to point out some things I'm seeing that are warning caution as warranty. First, the bullish sentiment in crypto and stocks is very high, which is usually contrarian indicator, meaning we could be due for a more substantial pullback. I would not use any leverage to trade. I'm not a financial advisor, but never use leverage to trade in crypto, or you could lose a lot of money. Second, while we were very excited about RLUSD, traders like to do the opposite of the emotional vibe. So they could force prices down since most people are not expecting it. When could this happen? Well, December 23rd, MicroStrategy is being added to the NASDAQ. Today's December 23rd. Michael Saylor's company uses a lot of leverage to buy Bitcoin. It could be that the hedge funds use that day as a top to short Bitcoin, driving the price lower on all crypto. Good, that's a really good analysis. Then Santiment says crypto markets have opened the week retracing further, instilling panic toward the retail crowd, not this retail, not the DAI retail. Particularly Bitcoin and Ethereum are seeing massive FUD from newer traders who joined markets in the past 2 to 3 months. These new traders have not seen mid-sized corrections before, folks. And by the way, everybody calling this a pullback, this is nothing compared to some of the pullbacks I've seen in these bull runs, folks. This is a pullback light, okay? Nothing, not even close to what I've seen. These new traders have not, it says, historically when retail traders begin to sell based on panic and emotion, whales and sharks have opportunities. Yet, look, it's Christmas, I have credit card bills to pay, but after I do that, you can be assured I'm going to be scooping up XRP as long as we're in this pullback. I'm not right now only because I got bills to pay. Okay. Then Charles Hoskinson on Talking with David Schwartz lately.
Dave Schwartz is a great guy. He's a brilliant guy. It's a lot of fun being in meetings with him, and I love to hang out with him. He's super smart, and he's just really passionate. After all this time, he still has it. But remember, every step of the way, they were excluded, delisted, sued, and even when they won, they still had to fight. Yet they're still around. They're still here. They're still resilient. And they got a bright future because of it. And Cardano in many ways has similar respects, as does Bitcoin.
All right. He's right. Cardano and XRP, ADA and XRP have been just bashed at any chance for the last 5 to 7 years. Now, Joseph Lubin, I'm always looking for a great Joseph Lubin video. Here, Joseph Lubin, he's talking about financial privacy, but if you really listen to him, it sounds a lot like, and I don't know, but it sounds a lot like he could be talking about getting those disguised whales from the ICO permanently disguised. Listen to his plans.
A lot of people feel that privacy is inappropriate in many different situations, and what are you hiding, basically?
Yeah,
I would argue that Bitcoin and Zcash and Ethereum is likely to implement the Zcash technology very soon also. I would argue that
just so you know, Zcash is a privacy coin, so it helps you hide everything.
Financial privacy is incredibly important. So like any great new technology, it can be used for a small number of bad things, small number of bad use cases, and a huge number of good use cases. So financial privacy in the form of what medication you're buying or what kinds of financial transactions you're doing. If you're a trader, you're Goldman or some other entity, you don't want competitor traders to know that you bought a certain stock or at a certain price, or you're holding a certain number of assets. Anytime you have a supply chain, you don't want this supplier to know how much you're paying it, because if this supplier finds out, they'll want a higher price. So all the way through that supply chain, financial privacy is incredibly important. So I would argue that 80% of use cases in the world probably require financial privacy. And so it's really a red herring for people to say that if you
can hear me typing in the background. Actually, just a little bit of inside baseball. When you hear me typing like that, that means I was typing out this tweet while I was recording the video on the other screen.
Privacy, you're probably a terrorist. It seems kind of silly to...
And finally, let's finish with this before we go into DAI XRP. A lot of the talk I'm hearing is of a 10-time XRP on the next run up. The second of what I think would be at least 3 legs for 2025, or 2 legs for 2025. We've already had one from November. FYI, 10 times from here would be 2140. That's if we do it now. Let me see what the price is now. It's a 218. Hold on, 218 XRP. So let's do that one times 10. That would be 2180 right now. eGrag Crypto has been calling for $27 over and over and over, and so he says 27 is better. Okay, here's what we're going to do, because it's that time of year. In DAI XRP, I have compiled from X posts and all that stuff. I've compiled 20 predictions around the prices of cryptos, and then 20 predictions that don't involve price for crypto in 2025, and that's what we're going to show you. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family about my 20 predictions. It's actually 40 predictions, but here we go. These aren't mine. This is a compilation. Here we go.